So a common question that I received this weekend was about formations for 5v5, and so how you should organize your players and what's the easiest, best way to do that. So I thought I would just go over a couple of real quick ones. The most basic and the easiest, I think, for the players to understand is to have two defenders and two forwards, because it's very symmetrical, makes it easy for you to communicate with the players. What I'll say is okay, you players on this side are playing on the coach's side of the field, and you players here, you're playing on the parents' side of the field. So that eliminates the right and left, because we all know that changes as the players face different directions, and it just helps to illustrate which side of the field they're playing on. So for me, the most basic, the simplest way for them to understand is to play 2 and 2. I don't like it as much because it's really static, and so the defenders kind of stay back and the forwards kind of go forward, and then there's a big gap in the middle. So it's one way to do it, and it's a good starting point. But then another way to do it that I think we should try to progress to eventually is to get the players. I mean, really, the ultimate goal, I think, is to get the players to understand to be able to play in a diamond. Now, is that too difficult for the first week after 2 or 3 practices, perhaps? But it's something we should kind of shoot for. And a way to get there is to play with 3 in the back and 1 forward. Now, you might say, well, that's too many people back. But what I encourage is this outside player on the coach's side, an outside player on the parent side, to encourage them to use this entire space up and down the sideline. So you can tell them, look, you're responsible for going all the way up and all the way down. And what that does is it simplifies it for the player. So there's basically 2 lines. There's a forward line and a defensive line. And then you just are talking to these players about the idea that they can go up and down the field as the ball goes up and down the field. And you talk about this player being in the center, and that player stays back to help protect the goal and help the goalkeeper. And so that's a starting point for getting the players to the point where they can understand, okay, now there's 3 lines of players. So now we have a defender, we have 2 midfield players, and then we have a forward. And so when you get to this level, then the players are really able to understand that there's different positions. And we've got the different sides of the field, got the forward, and you can talk to the forward about being able to follow the ball from one side to the other. Same with the defender. You can talk to the midfielders about helping the defender. But these are the 3 basic ways that I think that we can organize a 5v5. Again, with the simplest being the box, and then we want to try to transform and kind of transition to the diamond eventually. And I think you can do that starting out with 3 in the back and really talking to the players about these outside channels. So I hope that helps. Something else I'll throw in here as well is just watching the teams warm up on the weekend. A really popular way to have the players warm up is to have them dribbling at the halfway, or I'm sorry, to have them in a line at the halfway line. So I'll just remove these players and show you what I mean. So if we remove these, what I see quite often, and this is at every level, this isn't just with recreational teams, but I see this all the time with premier teams too, is that we'll have the players out here in a line, and each of them will have a ball, and then they're waiting for the coach to then be available for a pass. And so we end up with a line of players, we end up with 1 coach and 1 player going at a time. Well, what I would suggest is that you can have all of these players be active if you have them dribbling at the halfway line. So you've got all your players out here. They've all got a ball. They're all dribbling. I'll just put a couple more here just to illustrate it. They're all dribbling. And then you're let's say, in this area. And then one at a time, you're going to call them, and we'll just make you just different here. You're going to call their name, and they're going to pass you a ball. They're going to make a run, and then you're going to pass the ball back to them to shoot. So what that does is it keeps everybody here active while allowing people to dribble and shoot as you want to help the goalkeeper warm up and let them take shots. But that keeps everybody moving, which is just a great way to warm them up dribbling-wise and just keep them more active rather than being in lines. You could even take it another step farther if you'd like, and you could add another player out here, and this might be something you do later in the season, but you add another player without a ball. And so this player's job is to try to take a ball from another player. If they take the ball from that player, then this player is it, and they're trying to take a ball from another player. And so that way, they're having to concentrate on keeping possession away from a defender, and then you're still calling people's names, receiving passes. They take a shot. After they take a shot, then they get their ball and they dribble back toward the middle, and you go through the process of giving everybody a chance to do that. So that's just a fun, active warm-up that you might consider as a way to keep all the players moving and active before the game. So I hope this helps. If there's ever anything you need, please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. My information's on the email. Thanks a lot.